Dodgers decide they need another big-ticket item here. Kyle Tucker going there to the Dodgers. Your reaction is?
Well, it's terrible for baseball. I'll start there. I mean, how many guys are you going to have them sign? Diaz, and I'm not saying for the Dodgers it makes some sense. They probably needed an outfielder. They had some issues as a closer last year, so there comes Diaz. But this is ridiculous. Their payroll last year with insurance was over $500 million. And now they add two guys in. One's making what, 80 million or 70 million in Diaz, and he's making 60 million in an average salary in Tucker. I mean, the Dodgers theoretically aren't doing anything wrong. They're playing by the rules, but the rules have to change. I mean, this is getting to be a joke. I mean, this is going to, in a lot of ways, you can make an argument this helps Manfred with the lockout discussions and the contract with the CBA for next year, which obviously concludes, I think, on December 1st. It's right after the season. And this is now going to be a major sticking point. These owners say, hold on now, how am I supposed to compete when the Dodgers, and again, the Dodgers don't do anything wrong, but the rules stink. And, they gave Ohtani all that money, but it's all deferred. So he's making basically $10 million a year so they can defer it, which gives him the best player in baseball at an incredibly low price, which means they can do anything they want. And everybody else did the same exact thing. Play in L.A., winning team, great organization, good weather, have a chance to be in the World Series every year. Who wouldn't defer all the money? The problem is it doesn't work as far as the basis of the sport is concerned, because half these teams can't compete. Why would anybody think they could win the NL West next year with the Dodgers? And who cares what the Dodgers do between April 1st and October 1st? Once the postseason starts, they're the team to beat. Last year, they had a bad year for them. They won 90-something games. They won 95 games, and they still won the World Series. So it makes the regular season obsolete for L.A. because they're going to make the playoffs, and they have the best players. So once they get into the playoffs, despite the unpredictability of baseball postseason, they got a hell of a chance to win. You can't tell me it's good for the sport that the Dodgers, who have won 2 championships, been in the playoffs, 15, 16 years in a row, in the last 5 years, gave $325 million to Yamamoto, gave Sasaki $200 million, gave Ohtani a fortune, and now they give Tucker a fortune and Diaz a fortune. That's not good for the sport and the overall writing theme of it. Good for L.A., bad for baseball.
If you include deferred payments, the guaranteed salary for the Dodgers this upcoming season is $2.1 billion.
Wow, that's amazing. Good job, Dan. I didn't even know that. I mean, how are the Pirates supposed to compete with that? I mean, how are the Royals and the Guardians and the Reds and the White Sox? I mean, how are they supposed to compete with that? Baseball wants that?
Well, you got Tampa Bay.
How they solve the problem? How they solve the problem is going to be hard.
Tampa Bay, $70 million.
Yeah.
Miami, $76 million. The White Sox, $102.
Right.
St. Louis, $102. Washington, $120. Cleveland, $131. Minnesota, $154 million. So these include deferred payments, guaranteed salaries. But I don't know how you could get everybody on the same page with this, Chris. Players Association is going to fight it. They want these contracts. I mean, I don't know if these owners, I don't know what you can do.
I agree with you. And remember, let's also say this. The guy who runs the Players Association is Scott Boras. It's not Tony Clark. It's not Bruce Weber. Weber might negotiate it. It's Boras.
Yeah.
They don't do anything without Boras's approval. And Boras is an unbelievably good agent who last time they had this major fight, everybody on the executive board were Boras clients. I think they had 5 or 6, and they were all Boras guys. You got Max Scherzer on the phone calling Boras to see if he agrees with what they're doing in March. The whole thing is that, listen, baseball, this is what kills baseball. It's great in the postseason because you never know. The best team doesn't always win. But as far as the regular season is concerned, it's gotten to a situation where it becomes obsolete because certain teams are just going to be in the postseason barring a catastrophe. And one of those teams now, the Yankees and, teams like that. And one of those teams definitely now is L.A. And it's bad for the sport. A lot of fans are going to be annoyed. And I don't know what you do to solve it. You're right. Manfred's done a great job because he's been a commissioner that has not lost a regular season game since he was involved with negotiating these contracts in the mid-90s. So he has that on his legacy. So he's not going to want to lose games next year. But he's also in a situation where he's got to do something. So we shall see.
Yeah, because with the NFL, you can go from worst to first. We've seen those success stories.
Can't do that in football. You can't do that here.
Yeah, in the NBA, we've seen success stories. They've had
a number 1 pick. Look at the Spurs.
Yeah, different champion, the last 5 or 6 years. So you go into a season, the NFL gives you hope.
Absolutely.
It gives you Carolina Panthers fans at the beginning of the year. You're probably thinking, okay, we're in a bad division. Can we win this division? And the answer is yes. You look at the Bears, where they were, where they are. You could have the rise and the fall. Detroit, up, then down. So to say to these teams, you're going to have an opportunity to at least compete for a playoff berth. That's what you want. As a fan, you want hope. Now, there's certain franchises where you go, no, we expect to be in. In the NBA, you want hope. You want to go, hey, I believe in the team, and I'll continue to go out and support it. If you're a Pittsburgh Pirate fan, you go out one day. You go to see your pitcher. That's probably it. It's a great ballpark, but how many times are you going to see those games? But if you're playing in big games, now all of a sudden you're buying it. The Reds make the playoffs. Now you're going out to watch a season, not just a couple of games.
100%. Watch the Dodgers get Scooble, too.
I did. I brought that up this morning. I go, that's who I thought that they were going to be getting somehow, some way.
And he's going to leave. And, this arbitration issue with him, yeah, it's a major problem. Last year the Bears didn't make the playoffs. This year they're in a divisional round. You made a good point about Carolina. They won the division. They get a home playoff game. Denver last year barely made the playoffs. Now they're the 1 seed. Seattle last year didn't make the playoffs. Now they're the 1 seed. You have so many advantages from that standpoint. Was it normally 6 in and 6 out in the NFL?
Yeah.
6 teams every year. And, that they, have a shorter schedule. Now you need the quarterback. Without the quarterback, you're not going to win. But you have ways to get the quarterback. You can draft one. You can be bad at the right time. Purdy was the last pick in the draft. They found him, right? You can get the QB. Josh Allen wasn't the first pick. You can get Knicks wasn't the first pick. You can get the quarterback by a little lucky, somehow a free agent, a trade. Well, Donald, he was a trade. Seattle, they won. You can get the quarterback. In the NBA, you got to get the great player. Wembanyama, David Robinson, Duncan. You got to get that great player, the transformational player. There are ways to do it, but you got to get that player. But it doesn't have anything to do with money. It might have something to do with the market, but Sacramento was good for a long time. The Spurs won some championships, so the small market can win. In baseball, it's really about 3 or 4 teams, and that's the unfortunate thing about baseball. It's got a great playoff system. The playoff system lasts 3 weeks. It's done. It's not a slug-out 4-month process where they play best of 7s, where you know who's going to win beforehand, like the NBA might have. It's the games are unpredictable because there's no guarantee the best team's going to win. So that makes it fun too. The great baseball game, as you know, Dan, you're a great baseball fan. Game 7, Toronto and the Dodgers. How great a game was that? Yeah, it gives you incredible drama. But the problem is baseball has become, over the long period of time, too much dominated by the big market teams. And I don't know how you solve that problem. I really don't. Without a strike.